as people are going absolutely nuts in the comment section of my videos about the status of Asheville post-Hurricane Helene. And I'm getting the nastiest comments ever. Asheville TDA, that stands for Tourism Development Authority, just announced that Asheville is open to public. And they laid out some recommendations and some tips that everyone should follow when visiting the area. So in this video, I would like to break down their recommendations. Plus, I would like to add my own tips, as well as one little, not so little, important thing that I think everyone who even remotely cares about their health should care about and know about when coming, visiting, relocating, whatever that might be, to Asheville, North Carolina right now, 3-4 weeks post-Hurricane Helene. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Original Living in Asheville channel. This is Elena Kovrigin with ℂ𝕠𝕟𝕼 Realty, powered by eXp Realty here in Asheville, North Carolina. If you have any questions about the area, post-Hurricane Helene, what areas were affected, what were not. If you have any questions, our team and I are here to help. Our contact information is down in the description. But let's go back to what TDA has said about visiting Asheville less than a month from Hurricane Helene. A lot of people might think that, well, gosh, are we even able to get to Asheville? Well, yes. The airport has been open. One of our clients came here October 4th, which was like, less than a week after the hurricane. And I myself was surprised that he was even able to fly in here. I was like 90% sure that his flight will be canceled, and I was telling him that, but no, he came here, no problem. The airport is open. Most roads leading to Asheville, if you are driving, are open as well. There might be some detours, so you just have to kind of plan your trip, and I'm going to put a link down in the description where you can look up some road closures and stuff like that. So that's not a problem. In their message, they said that many businesses and restaurants are reopening as widespread power and water service returns. More on that later. Yes, a lot of businesses, or quite a few businesses are reopening in the area. Pretty much the whole downtown was untouched, outside the fact that they lost utilities, cell service, internet, all that. But there was really, I don't think there was any damage in downtown Asheville itself. And many other areas like Biltmore Park, that, it can be a pretty big attraction for locals and tourists, were untouched as well. Next, Biltmore has announced plans to welcome guests on November 2nd.
The band's ready. Well, we've got to do what the band says.
Well, if Biltmore is ready, and listen, there's such a big push and pull. Biltmore is a big attraction, not just for tourists, but for locals as well. And yes, I know we're privileged because we are able to visit it. We have annual passes that, they're not the cheapest, but we are excited for it to open. And I am 99% sure that inside Biltmore itself, it will be absolutely gorgeous. It will be beautiful. A lot of land, a lot of property was not touched. There was no damage. And of course, I'm sure, they're probably going to block some areas that don't look so presentable right now to visitors. So you will have probably, a great experience in Biltmore. So again, we are excited about it, but here's what you need to know. Outside of Biltmore, the entrance to Biltmore and Biltmore Village, where I am right now, and I showed this area in my other videos about the status of Asheville and what it all looks like post-Hurricane Helene. All this area that is basically adjacent to Biltmore Estate was underwater. I believe the water went up to like at least half of that second floor, or the first floor of this building. Most of this was underwater. So you can kind of get an idea the extent of damage. Right now, it looks like a bomb went out here. Everything is covered with dirt, and right now it actually looks a lot better than it used to be because they are cleaning up, but there's just piles and piles of dirt and rubbish and just things that, building materials and things that they are getting out of all those buildings. So right now, and I imagine for quite some time, this whole area, the whole ℊ𝕠𝕟 village will not be a place to visit. It's not going to be a tourist attraction. It's not going to be a place to come and visit and tour. I mean, in fact, a lot of it is blocked off for any kind of foot traffic or for cars to go through, so that people who are working here, they can work and do their job. So unless you come in to volunteer and you're ready to roll your sleeves up and be one of those snow angels and and help out, you should be staying away from areas like ℊ𝕠𝕟 village. Another thing I wanted to say, a side note, is that neighborhoods or areas that had a lot of devastation, a lot of destruction, where houses were completely destroyed or flooded, and now their streets look like this, like ℊ𝕠𝕟 village, are also not a tourist attraction, are also not a place to visit right now. Those people are suffering, those people are going through just horrific times because they lost houses, they lost maybe their loved ones, their pets, their farm animals. They're just going through a lot. Businesses, that's not the time to go and visit and tour those areas. And even the entrance to ℊ𝕠𝕟 is unrecognizable. All the trees, all like 100-year-old trees are gone. There used to be a Starbucks, if anybody's familiar with this, there used to be a Starbucks shop right here, gone. I'm sure inside ℊ𝕠𝕟 it's gonna look nice and they will make it presentable, but for right now it looks like a war zone, and I think it's just a fair warning, so that when you come in and spending your money, you know that it's gonna look like this. So if you're planning on coming, or maybe you already had your visit booked like weeks or months in advance, it is important for you to check with the place where you're staying, whether it's hotel or Airbnb, and make sure that your reservation is still up and they still can take you, and they have running water, they have electricity, they have internet service, that they're basically ready, because not every part of even Buncombe County still has all those services. For the most part, we do, but not every part. So make sure to check with your accommodation provider, and so that it's not going to be a bad surprise, okay, when you get here. Same goes with businesses, local businesses like restaurants and coffee shops, and maybe some attractions like ℊ𝕠𝕟. I'm sure they're going to have probably some modified hours, or a bunch of restaurants even here in downtown. Like I said, and like TDA said, that most businesses are open, but a lot are not. So check and make sure that you know the hours. A lot of them have and are operating on limited menu or different menus, so check with that. Fail to plan, plan to fail, same kind of situation right now. And when you come, whether you are visiting, whether you're relocating, volunteering, whatever that might be, make sure you support local, okay? This town is built on local businesses. This is our basically bread and butter. So support local. Places like Batiwala, that amazing local businesses here are suffering right now. Those are that reopened their, again, that's where the push and pull, right? The area is hurting. A lot of people just can't even fathom the idea that they said that, tourists are welcome, visitors are welcome. On the other hand, half of this town is employed by local businesses, by tourism and hospitality industry. And so without tourist money, without visitors money, all these people are not making a living. They're not making any money. A lot of people are forced to move away, or, I can't even imagine what people have to do because they don't have jobs. And so I get it that, push to reopen and tell people, we're open, visitors are welcome, because half of the town depends on that. On the other hand, a lot of areas are hurting, and a lot of areas are just off limits to tourists. In other words, disaster tourists are not welcomed here, okay? You come in, come with a purpose, roll up your sleeves, be mindful of locals, of what everyone is going through. Again, it's supposed to be a peak tourist season right now in the whole Asheville area, so in Asheville and outside in the whole Western North Carolina. And downtown is kind of empty. There's a ton of cars. We could barely find parking right now, so I don't know where all these people are, but there's barely anybody on the streets, so that's weird. We have a lot of road closures still, and sometimes random. We were just driving through South Slope towards downtown, and one section of South Slope was closed off, and I don't even know what's going on. I know nothing happened there, but something must be happening. So I heard from other people that Waze and Google Maps have been working really well for road closures and detours, but you just have to kind of be ready to adjust on the fly. If you see a road closure, just have to find your way. Again, use Waze, Google Maps, and you should be fine. If you, let's say you're not in downtown or somewhere, and you are not sure where you are, and you see a sign for road closure, I mean, I'm not even joking, this is very serious. Be very mindful and be very respectful to those road closures. Do not try to attempt and go there and take a look, take a peek, see what's going on. Be very mindful. A lot of locals are very, very, I don't want to say angry, sometimes they are, at people just trying to come and just stare at their disaster, okay? So be very mindful of that, and respectful. And the colors are popping and it's so beautiful and just fresh, the air is fresh. Also, when you come in at this time of the year, you need to layer. Like this morning it was like 35 degrees. It's gonna be 75 in the afternoon. So I'm gonna be sweating pretty soon. But for now, it's nice and chilly. And this is one of my favorite stores in downtown. I shop here a lot, especially when it's time for closings. If you are looking for some Asheville or area specific souvenirs, this is a great place. So like I said, this is one of the businesses that is actually open in downtown. Otherwise, it kind of feels still very empty. So how's it been so far?
It's been very quiet, and it has been very solemn at first. We reopened 1 week ago today.
Okay.
Yep, we had some friends on the block that were opening, the shoe store and boutique LP. And so my business partner, Lindsay, decided to take the chance and see if people would come in. And after being closed for several weeks, we were excited to get in, and we had a lot of people come.
Really? Well, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying that, it's like a push and pull, here with trying to reopen, but then a lot of people are still, and you yourself, like you said, you were just busy with your stuff.
Yeah, we were so uncertain. I mean, it was such a what's going to happen, and it felt really insensitive to even consider,
right?
The future, because so many people were devastated. And we were really unsure. And so with all the resources, we got online. Mountain BizWorks was a great resource for us, so we utilized that and
just trying to stay afloat.
Just trying to stay afloat and figure out what was the best option for us and how we were going to continue to move forward.
Because probably right now would have been a lot busier for you.
Yeah, and this kicks off the busiest season for a lot of the businesses in town, for all of us, I think. So.
Yeah, and a lot of people are employed by all these businesses who live here. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you are open. There's a ton, like I said, there's a ton. Anybody who wants a souvenir about the area, I mean, anything from just the cards, stickers, local stuff that's made here, locally in the area, they have it all here.
Yeah, some of our vendors were really negatively affected, like ℊ𝕉𝕉 soap company. They lost everything, their whole home. And the Asheville Tea Company, they also lost
really?
Everything. So they're gone, completely gone.
I had no idea. That's my favorite tea.
Yeah. Oh, so we are lucky to have a little bit of that left, and we just hope people can rebuild. And
So literally, when you support local businesses, you're not just supporting the business owner. You're supporting people who are employed by them. You're supporting vendors who supply to these businesses, who they buy from. And it's like, it's
a lot.
It's a lot to take in. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. One of our favorite restaurants in downtown Asheville, very casual. Mountain Madre looks like it's open. We're gonna try and see if we can have some lunch there. And so yes, a lot of places are reopening or try to reopen, especially in those unaffected areas like downtown. But one thing that Tourism Development Authority or Visit Asheville did not mention is that nobody in town has potable water. It has a lot of sediment. Even bathing in it or showering in it kind of looks, I'm still not sure about that because it looks yellow at best. And I'm not saying all the areas are like that, but you cannot even brush your teeth using the tap water in Asheville right now. And so what I was doing at first is I would fill up a pot from this faucet that is supposed to be drinking water that's filtered. There are filters. I would fill up my pot and boil it for 10 minutes. And then I let it run through another filter, and it still looked like this. It's still not potable because there's so much sediment. We need to have another filter just for sediment. And then we need filter for all the chemicals and all the toxins and whatever else is in it right now. So we're still drinking out of plastic bottles, unfortunately, and brushing our teeth out of these bottles as well. Keep that in mind. I think that's super important. I mean, people are getting sick if they just brush their teeth, let alone try to drink it. Which is why in a lot of places, in a lot of restaurants that are reopening, you're going to be served water, drinking water in plastic cups. They're not washing dishes, or they don't have ability to wash dishes, and they just try to minimize it. So you're either looking at something like this. It's super important detail for most people. So if you are maybe have a reservation with Airbnb or hotel, it's not a bad idea to inquire about their water source, if they have any filters, how they have, what kind of water they provide and have at their place, at their facility. And so if you are planning on coming to the area, I think if I were you, I would honestly probably stay somewhere outside of Asheville, maybe Henderson County, Hendersonville specifically. They didn't have nearly as much damage. Their water source was not compromised. And of course, if you are unsure and you want to be considerate to what's going on and you don't want to be a nuisance, I see a lot of comments about that. People are unsure because they want to be considerate. There's a ton of places right outside of Asheville, Hendersonville, Franklin, Silva. Waynesville is opening up more. There's a lot of places to visit and spend your money and support local. Again, I hate to shoot ourselves in the foot, but this is just the reality. A lot of people are hurting. You can still come and visit. Some areas are off limits, absolutely off limits. And if you have any more questions, if you need kind of guidance about that, feel free to reach out to me and my team. Our contact information is down in the description. And I will see you in the next one. Cheers.